Hey everyone, it's Jeannie, and I'm back today to share a card using Trinity Stamps Have an Ice Day stamp set. Although this stamp set is a smaller one, it's a 3x4 stamp set, it is the perfect card for a scene card, and that's what I'm doing today. So I've been really into no line coloring these days, so this is what I'm doing. And I use all the images from this stamp set because I just haven't decided what to do at this point and what I want the bear to hold. So I just stamped out everything, I'll color everything, and I'll decide when I'm putting the card together. So for the inking, I'm using Ink on Three's Fade Out ink, and this ink is perfect for no line coloring. I do find that the first stamp is a little light, so I'll go in with a second layer using my Misty to be able to see those lines a little bit clearly. So for no line coloring, I will go in with a Copic friendly marker to mark off the lines that won't be colored in. So like his eyes, his mouth, and the shoelaces. So it's just some things I do that require a little bit more detail, I'll use a pen for. For no line coloring, I have been practicing a lot. I think it's really fun and it's really relaxing. It takes me so long though because I've just been practicing placing shadows and being able to color without the big bold line. And I find that the big bold line is a safety net where you can color and everything's still defined. With no line coloring, you kind of have to lay out the shadows and rely on them to distinguish all the different areas of an image. I take a lot of time to do this, and I think it takes a lot of practice, and I'm getting the hang of it. And I just really like how everything looks, so I've been just doing it a lot more than normal. For this particular bear, he has a lot of space and coloring space, that is, and so it makes it a little bit easier. And it's broken down into different sections because he's wearing a scarf, he has ice skates on, and he has mittens too. So it helps with differentiating the different areas of his body and his accessories. But for this, I go in with my lighter color and I'll color up the entire area that I'm coloring first. And then I'll go in with my second color to add in all the shadows. So the shadows will go wherever I want it to go. I don't really use a light source when I color, so I just add shadows where I see fit. And I'll go in with the darker color third, and I'll add that to, like, the tip of his nose, right where the scarf meets, and then I'll just go back with the second lightest color and then the lightest color to blend everything out. And I know that it takes a lot of time to do that, but I think it's totally worth it. So for the coloring, I actually had to speed it up quite a bit because I take so long doing it, but I do enjoy it, so don't get me wrong. I don't mind the extra time that it takes to add the different colors, and I think the most difficult part for me of no line coloring is actually not animals, but flowers. Flowers have tons of petals, they overlap each other. There's so many different shadows, and I've been working on it. And I think that the more you practice, the easier it gets. So I think once I master this, I'm going to try to move on to watercoloring, which is definitely much harder because you're working with a medium that kind of has a mind of its own, aka water. So I'm working my way to that eventually. I think that coloring is going to be, like I said, one of my goals for the year, at least in card making. And I think that it's been really fun so far. I just have kind of picked this up and kind of run with it because I just have been no line coloring, but it's taking me so long sometimes. But I think I am getting a little bit faster. So for this card, it's definitely going to still be Christmassy. I wanted him to be in red and green and the traditional Christmas colors. I did color that cup because I decided to use it for this scene card, and I colored it yellow or goldish so it can stand out in his mittens. And I'm actually later going to trim down the mittens in between so I can put the cup in between his hands. And I think that that makes it super cute. It's not the best idea to be drinking a coffee cup while ice skating, but he's probably better on skates than me, so I'll let him do that. For this particular card, I wanted the soft look to the entire card. I'm planning on using stencils, and stencils don't have a big, bold black outline. And so I think that I wanted the bear to have that soft look of the no line coloring. And I do mix and match sometimes. I stamp with a black outline all the time. And I think that for this particular card, it just turned out really well because everything looked really soft, and I really, really liked that. While I was doing this card, it kind of reminded me of my holiday party for work. I wasn't able to go because I had a work thing that I had to be out of town for, but the rest of my team had gone roller skating and they went to this church that's abandoned and they had fixed it up and removed everything, so it's just a roller skating rink, and I think that it would have been so fun to go. I've been before, not with work, just with my family, and it was so much fun. It's one of those things that you don't really expect to have or see in this day and age because everyone's like on technology and nobody really plays inside anymore. But it totally reminded me of when I was a kid and I would learn how to roller skate. And I live in San Francisco, so I never skated outside because I was just way too scared. But like I would go in my backyard and do that. So, around the holidays, our city has a bunch of different roller skating rinks. They're always so crowded because, this isn't something we normally see. We don't have snow, we don't have ice skating rinks year round. It's not something that's normal. And I always love to go, but I am always scared of the crowds because I fall a lot. And I don't know how many of you guys roller skate or rollerblade or even ice skate, but I'm just not really good at it. And I will kind of want to be because it seems so easy when you watch like the Winter Olympics and you see the ice skaters and they just look so amazing. And I think that that's probably something I'll never get good at because I just don't have that in my city. There's no place to really practice, but it just reminded me that I missed my holiday party, which was such a bummer. It was awesome because everyone dressed up and the theme was 80s, so it was totally, spandex and headbands and like long hair, and it looks really, really fun. So I am bummed out. But I mean, what kind of holiday parties do you guys have? Like, do you just go to a hotel with a fancy dinner or like is it activities? I really want to know. So let me know. So when I finish coloring, I die cut everything using the coordinating dies and I'm going to work on my background. I'm using the layered pine tree stencil with distress inks and the blending buddy. I'll use washi tape to hold that down in case you're wondering what that is. I have a ton of washi tape everywhere and I'm realizing that I don't really use it. And so I'm using it for crafting now. I'm just helping hold things down for stencils, especially. Although I just got the pixie spray, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully that will help. So for the background, these trees are I start with the two side trees because I want a darker middle tree to stand in front, and I did the two side trees in lighter colors so that way I can have a darker color right in front and you can't see the side trees through it. You'll see what I mean when I work on the middle tree. Think it works out really, really well. For the stencils, I do love these layering stencils because it makes creating a background scene so, so easy. And you'll see that the trees take up most of the space. I'll go in and add the ground and add the skating rink, and more or less my card is done after that. I think that Trinity Stamps actually has quite a few layered stamp sets, and I've used them in some videos, I believe, and they set the perfect background. And I think that with this stencil, it works perfectly with this little bear. So, like I'm doing right now, the middle tree is much darker than the two side trees. It gives a little bit of dimension, gives it so it doesn't seem so like monotone. I really like how that turned out. And with the blending buddy, I just kind of like kept blending around where the two side trees were, so you can't even see them through that middle tree, which I really, really liked because I didn't want it to look weird, right? That you see another tree and it's like transparent or something. So I went with the darker color. And I think that generally it just was good that there were different shades of the tree too. So for the ground, I just create a little curve and that's where the ice skating rink is. I'll add the little shadow for the ground. And like I said, I didn't add any snow or anything. I didn't really think about it. I was just like, ice skate rink in the middle of the forest. So for the ice skating rink, I just go in with some light blue Copic colors and I add a little texture by adding lines. It's really hard to see because this color is so light, but because it's an ice skating rink, I feel like he was skating around and there's those indentations from the skates. I'll add a little more distress ink for the sky just to add a little pop of color so it's not super white. It's all very light, but I think you'll see it in the final photo of the card. I trim the mittens in between so I can place the coffee cup right in his mittens. For the sentiment, I'll stamp it out on white cardstock. And I didn't have matching red, so I just went in and used a Copic marker, matted it on that red, and that really makes the sentiment pop. So those are the two elements that I just need to glue down. I'm gluing down the little bear right in the center of the card, and I'll tape the sentiment right above him. And this is my card. I think it turned out really, really cute. I think the no line coloring went well with the soft stencils, and this is a great holiday card for anyone. I hope you guys are doing better creating holiday cards than me. I'm kind of behind, but I hope you enjoyed this card, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.